my friends. Da-da-da-da. Let's get back into our story. We had like kind of a nice, I feel like for the first time in a very long time, we had kind of a nice ending to our last chapter. Christopher and Moll have been, I'm just going to read the final paragraph so we can put ourselves back into the story. They moved toward the children, clustering around Moll and Christopher, and for a moment they were engulfed in soft murmurs of wonder and the smell of sap, and the dryads reached out to touch them, their faces and hair and hands. So it seems like a very loving welcome, a really nice kind of shift in energy because we have been under so much stress in this story. And I'm so excited to read our next chapter, which is called The Potion, which is the chapter that we've been waiting for a long, long time. So let's see what happens. Arato held the potion. I'm going back because I'm forgetting who Arato is. I'm sure you guys... Oh, right. Arato, Dryad of Tar, Queen of the Forest. So she is like the big boss here. Held the potion in her strong, long-fingered hands. She had understood at once what they needed. Some of our mother's stories, she said, told of Merrick, the man who said no to the world. So that's the immortal that kind of ended things previous to Moll. They told what he did, and some said that the immortal would come again to the dryads. I did not imagine that immortal would come to me. She sniffed the potion but did not taste it. You know that it cannot be undone. Do you understand? Moll nodded. I know that. It has to be now. Arato called out, a cry that sounded like the moving of wood in the storm. There was a murmuring of surprise, some in pleasure, some in unease. For those of you that have seen Wizard of Oz, I'm kind of imagining the dryads being like the munchkins in Munchkinland, like kind of childlike and small and curious and sweet. Then each dryad turned to her own tree, snapped off a large branch, and came forward, holding it in her arms. So it seems like all the dryads are female, which is interesting. Now, step back, said Arato to Moll. I thought dryad wood doesn't burn, Christopher said. It doesn't, unless the fire is lit by a dryad. Then it burns as hot as the somnolum, but it can be unpredictable. A dozen dryads stood at the edge of the clearing, watching as Arato bent over the great pile of wood. She rubbed her fingers together, harder and faster, until they were a blur, and flames sprang from them. The pile of wood roared into light. Return, sisters, to your trees, or if you stay, you must keep back. And children, stay silent. What do you see, Mill? There can be no distractions, she said. Moll, though, could not sit. She walked around and around the clearing, her mouth in a line, so tight no slither of red was visible. Arato tipped the potion into a pot and held the pot sideways over the fire so the liquid flowed to its side, close to the lip, but not overflowing. Some of the fire flickered against the liquid, hissing out when it met the potion. After a few minutes, the potion turned from blue-black to a dark honey-brown. Arato poured the liquid into a wooden cup. Are you sure? Said Christopher suddenly. It seemed too much. Eternity. He found he wanted desperately to protect her, to protect the girl who was taking on all of time. Don't ask me that, said Moll. I don't want that question. Arato gave her the cup. Here then, I wish you luck for all our sakes, but most of all for your own, little immortal. Drink it quickly and in one. Here's the moment. Moll took it with the same determined, inward, soul-gritted look she had had for all the days since they sat at Gellifin's grave. She glanced at Christopher and said, I suppose it's a kind of goodbye then. This is sad. It's not, Moll. You'll still be you, and I'll still be here. You said it yourself, didn't you? You said he's a guardian. He had not been clear until that moment what that meant. It meant this feeling. It meant burning to keep watch. What do you have, Mill? What do you have? You have your ball? chase her and get her ball. See if she lets me have it. For that which needed to be watched, it meant burning to keep it safe. It meant a ferocious and careful love. She looked as if she would reply, but Arado said, "Now, child, quick, before it cools." Her whole body shook so that her hand could barely grip the cup. She tried for one brief, fleeting second to smile at him. She drank it down in one gulp. Ah, too hot! There was a single moment when Christopher did not breathe, and then she whispered, "Dizzy," and crouched down on the cool of the moss-covered ground. Her eyes rolled backward, and he just caught her as she fell sideways. He laid her out on her back. "No," said Arado, "here." And she moved Moll to lie on her side. Her breath became heavy and labored. Her eyes were closed. He waited. She began to shake and then to retch, which means throwing up or gagging. She coughed and vomited, but remained asleep. "Help me clear her face so she doesn't choke," said Arado. She produced a small bowl of rainwater and a soft cloth made from shredded and woven oak leaves. The dryad's words were calm, but her face was not, and something in her expression made Christopher ask, "Has anyone ever done this before?" The dryad shook her head. "So it could be killing her? It could be poison?" "She's immortal, Christopher." He glared at Arado, but she had turned her back and was kneeling over the fire, extinguishing it. The forest suddenly felt very dark. "Keep watch on her," Arado's voice, soft, came from the dark. "Wash her if she's sick again." Moll was sick twice, and each time he wiped her face as best he could and lifted her up to a spot of dry earth. The moon rose. Moll began to shiver and then to shake, and her lips were blue. Christopher rearranged her coat into a blanket, tucking it up around her chin. It would have been quite something to have had a sister, he thought, and it would have been quite something if she had been like Moll. At last he lay down next to her in the center of the circular clearing, under the moon shadow of the trees, facing her. He must have slept, though he hadn't meant to, because the next thing he knew, she was moving, curling into a ball and uncurling. She was still asleep, but she was weeping. Tears poured down her cheeks. He moved his jumper to a pillow under her head. His sweater was a jumper. He waited briefly, still asleep. The tears stopped, and her face creased and upturned itself into a sudden laugh, a choke of delight. Her eyes screwed shut. Then she fell silent again, limp and still. Then she began to speak, a stream of language, of English and Latin, Arabic, Russian, Cantonese, Pashto, Dragon, Sphinx. She spoke in voices not her own, old and rich and poor, ancient and modern. It seems like the potion has worked. And now this part is in italics, so I'm thinking that this is what she's saying. "Tell them there's fresh milk in the jar and they can have it all. Vin, I knock. It will heal, won't it? Wouldn't trust his bottom with a toot, but he's a sweet lad. Non, il adit non." "Hey, George, shh, shh, shh. I'm recording a read aloud, Bob. It's a joy to see your faces." And then there's I am not sure, is that a Cantonese character? I don't read Cantonese yet. "I'm sorry to tell you that he was killed on the last day. Kaltsami Rakanami. Love, my love." So there's all these different languages that she's speaking, and it seems like these are all like different conversations and different memories from different times and different people. And then she stopped and fell silent, panting. The sun rose on Christopher, still waiting. A dryad brought him bread from walnuts and a bowl of crushed apricots stewed with honey. "It is a dryad fruit. It will do more for you than any other food." Moll coughed and her eyes opened, then closed. "Water," she croaked. Arado poured a little water into her mouth, and Christopher dipped a piece of the bread in the apricot and put it between his lips. "How are you?" She struggled to sit up. She leaned the back of her head against a tree. She smiled, and he could see it was the most formidable effort he had yet seen her make. It was a smile with the world inside it. "I'll tell you," she said, "but not today." Her voice was different. It was rougher, as if the liquid had burned her throat. She lay down again, but her eyes stayed open. He tried to offer her more water, but she brushed it away. Left, she said. Left and left, right and straight, and left again, right and left, and 3 rights. He could hear only half of what she said. What do you think she's talking about, guys? Left and left and left, and over the chasm in the ground, and right and left and straight and right. The maze, he said. She nodded and pushed herself upright. We must go, she said. She made to stand and then collapsed before he could catch her, falling onto her side, scraping the left of her cheek and chin on the ground. Her whole body was flushed red, then paled. She tried again. Again, nothing. My legs, she said, they won't. She closed her eyes. If she can't walk, said the dryad, how is she going to make it through the maze? That's easy, said Christopher. That's the only question, really. I go with her. That is the end of the chapter. She has finally taken the potion. She has finally become who she was meant to be. Our next chapter, you can see Christopher carrying Moll. I guess that potion really is harsh on her system. And the next chapter, my friends, is called No Mortal Man Has Ever Returned. So she is kind of in and out of sleep. It seems like she's kind of in like a sleep-like state. She's reciting the directions to the maze, and I think that is probably where our story will take us next. Stay tuned for the next chapter. We're getting near the end, my friends. We've made it through almost the entire book. We just have this little sliver left. I kind of get sad when we get to the end of a great book. I don't want it to be over, but I'm so happy we're on this journey together. Thanks for reading with me, and I'll see you all soon. Love you.